Welcome to Through a Veteran's Eye. I'm your host, Fred Schenberg. Our program today will acquaint you, veterans and viewers in the community, with one of our nation's heroes. This program is dedicated to Washington County residents who are military veterans and veterans advocates. This program is our way of saying thanks for all you as veterans have done for this great nation. Welcome home. Before I get to our guest today, I want to remind you of the telephone number of Maryland's commitments to veterans behavioral health services, which is a hotline for veterans and their families needing help with behavioral health issues or any other issue they may encounter. That number is 1-877-770-4801. Our guest today is Mr. Alan Bragunier. Welcome, Al.
Thank you, Fred.
I really do appreciate you coming out and appearing on our program. We're just going to get into find out who Al. May I call you Al?
Yeah.
Okay.
No problem.
We find out what got you into the military and where you went from when you got in. When did you serve?
1962 to 1970. I went in April the 20th, 1962, and I graduated in June. I enlisted earlier on the buddy program. It was myself, Gary Watson, and Harry Moten. All three of us went in the Marine Corps on the buddy system.
In the Marine Corps?
Yes.
All of you did, the three of you. Okay, that was your choice. Were you drafted or did you enlist?
Enlisted, volunteer.
In 62, they didn't have the draft yet, right?
No, we just had to have that high school diploma.
Yeah, okay. And you had to be 18, was it, or 17?
I was 17. My father signed for me. My
he-
mother didn't want to, but
You did. What got you to enlist then?
well, I want. Nick Scallion was the vice principal of South High. He was in the Marine Corps, and he kind of looked out for me when I was in school, and he talked me into it. And I only one in our family that ever went in the Marine Corps.
Oh, okay.
All the rest of them were Navy and Army.
Oh, but they had served though.
They served in World War II,
Yeah.
Korea, and
Yeah, okay. So you enlisted. Your father signed for you. Your mother didn't want any part of it. Is that what I'm getting?
Yep.
What about the rest of your family? Were they supportive?
Yeah, they were. My youngest sister was Sharon. She was, when I first came back from Vietnam the first time, is when all the trouble was going on down in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
She was going to school to be a nurse down at Johns Hopkins University. I went down to see her, and they kind of sent me as their pen pal. They sent me packages and letters and everything from down there. So, she was real supportive of it.
But the rest of the family, aunts, uncles, of course, they were all Navy, and you said Army. They didn't want to see you in the Marine Corps. Is that?
Well, they kind of thought I'd go in the Navy like my dad.
Yeah.
No, I chose the Marine Corps for some reason or another, because I think a lot of people didn't think well, I wasn't real heavy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Were you? You said you were 17. Were you obviously? Well, I say obviously. I don't know that. Were you one of the youngest ones that went into the Marine Corps at that time? I mean, as far as when you got to basic training, were you one of the youngest ones?
I was.
Yeah, 17 is kind of young.
That was all three of us was 17.
Oh, all three of you were. Your buddy plan was. Oh, okay. So they all needed permission as well, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know when I was drafted, I was 23, so I was an old man when I went through.
And Harry Moten, he made a career out of the Marine Corps after 30 years. I haven't really talked to him, but I found out where he's living in Florida now.
Oh, he's still alive and doing well,
He's
huh?
still alive, doing well.
Yeah. Well, when you look back on it now, many years after 62 and basic training, how did your experience of basic training change you? Did you notice a change in you after basic training, or you were just even cockier? What did you notice any change in you?
It kind of gave you a little bit of cockiness, and especially with the name Marine Corps, it's kind of a little more or less. I know you were in the Army, but we always liked and we were always the first ones in.
Yeah, and I understand that pride. I truly do, and I salute and applaud everybody for doing that. But I didn't know at basic training. I know how once I got through basic training how it affected me, and I'm sure coming out of basic training as a Marine, had to be even more impactful, even more change your life.
It was nice. It was. It really gave you a feeling of pride when you come out. And I went out and seen some of the school teachers after I got out of boot camp, and they had me speaking in school.
Oh, really? Walk around in your uniform, your blues, I assume, and showing those off and everything. That's great. Well, when you graduated from, where did you go to boot camp?
I went to Paris Island, South Carolina.
You were in South Carolina, okay.
I wasn't a Hollywood Marine.
As in California, is that what
Right.
you call a Hollywood Marine? Okay, well, all right, that's fair. I hadn't heard it called Hollywood Marine before, but, well, you left basic and you went to more training. I guess your MOS training.
We had infantry training. Okay, after we left South Carolina, Paris Island, we went to Camp Geiger, which is part of Camp Lejeune, where you went through infantry training.
Everybody did, or?
Everybody did.
Oh,
Your
okay.
basic, it doesn't matter whether you was a tanker or whatever you was.
Band member or whatever you.
Your basic MOS was 0311 infantry.
0311, okay. 0311. I just heard that 0311 before. So you went to infantry training, 0311. How long was that? Do you remember?
That was 4 weeks.
4 weeks. Was it a picnic?
No, it wasn't no picnic.
Good. I didn't think so. Well, I just threw that out there to see if you were listening to me. And so you came out as infantry. Then
Yep.
what was your next training?
My MOS was 1811 tank crewman.
Oh, tank crewman.
I went
okay.
to tanks. I went to Bravo Company tanks at Camp Lejeune, 1st at 2nd Battalion, 2nd Tank Battalion.
So the first 6-8 months you stayed at Camp Lejeune then of your military career, basically.
Yeah. And then I went on two med cruises while I was with that outfit.
Oh, okay. As a tanker.
Mm-hmm. I was tank crewman.
Med cruises. We're going to have to hear about that in the next segment, though. I got to remember to get back to that. So you had, and by then this is what we're talking about, 63 by then, when you became the tanker.
The outfit I got stationed with, the 2nd Platoon, which I was with Bravo Company, was for the Cuban crisis.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
Most of them guys are out now, but some of them stayed in, and they came over to Nam too later.
Yeah. Interesting. They so when you became the tank crewman, how long were you in that kind of an assignment? What?
I was with tanks. You say my whole career actually in the Marine Corps was with tanks.
Oh, it was okay.
I went from a crewman, then I went to a track vehicle repairman, and then I became a track vehicle maintenance chief. I went to school for all those.
Okay, still assigned to the same unit as you went to these.
I just went to, which the base is no longer there, Camp Del Mar, California. That's where Marine Corps had tank training, and they sent tank crewmen there and maintenance chiefs, and also Force Recon was there.
So then you did become a California Marine then? I mean a Hollywood Marine, is that right?
Well, temporarily.
Okay. Well, we're going to pick this up at the next break. It's time that we take a short one, and then we'll get back up into the Hollywood part of it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Through a Veteran's Eye.
I'm Bernadette Wagner, host of Healing, Hope, and Health, the program that educates the mind and touches the heart. Join me as local experts discuss the missions, services, and programs provided by Hospice Washington County. On this program, we will answer questions submitted by viewers, thank generous donors and business partners, and recognize the dedicated staff and volunteers who deliver compassionate care when it's needed most. I hope you'll join me for the next episode of Healing, Hope, and Health. You'll be glad you did.
This is our home. It's where we've all decided to put down roots and raise families, not because we had to, because we wanted to. And as a business owner, you pour every ounce of energy into doing what's right for you in this community, and you won't and you don't stop until you get what you want, and neither do we. We're Antietam Cable Productions, and it's time to stand up and be seen and heard. You have a voice, and we'll help you tell your story. Antietam Cable Productions, putting the beat into the heart of your business.
Welcome back to Through a Veteran's Eye. I'm your host, Fred Schinberg. Today we are joined by Mr. Al Bragunier. We're talking about his Marine Corps experience. Right now we have him up into about 63 or something, but there was an opportunity that a lot of folks didn't have, a lot of military folks didn't have, that I'd like for him to share with us at this time. You mentioned something in 63. You had the opportunity to do something really special. What was that?
I had to stand guard in the rotunda in the Capitol. It was just like a temporary thing.
For
I
who?
don't know how I wound up doing it, but I did it.
For who?
For President John F. Kennedy.
After he was assassinated.
They assassinated
So
him.
you were one of those Marine Corps guards that was standing there looking good.
Yeah, I had a couple stints. That was it, but it was still
that's
a
great.
moment that you'll never
was
forget.
a moment that many wish that they'd have that opportunity. So
And
good
it
for
was
you.
cold.
Well, yeah, it probably was, yeah. And November, so I guess it would have been, yeah. Okay, well then let's fast forward back up to your tank days. You had indicated that you'd gone through different schools to become a maintenance chief, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you said something earlier about med cruises, with
Yeah, we.
what's that about?
Well, the Marine Corps has battalion landing teams, and the first one I went on was Battalion Landing Team 2-8. Okay, they sent up tuna tanks at infantry, motor transport, ontoses, and all that. We would go to the Mediterranean for 6 months. I mean, you know, and we did several amphibious landings with different countries and different outfits. And
So you had your equipment, you had your tanks, and
Oh,
you
yeah,
had,
we
all
had,
your equipment. Okay.
we were, I was, the first one we was on was the LSD-14 Rushmore. Flying fish were faster than it was.
There you go.
But we would do,
interesting.
and then they had LSTs, and then by one chance, Carrier Enterprise was with us. So I don't know where a lot of people know, but at that time it was in the Atlantic Fleet. But
So those were considered med cruises.
yeah, and you did those because it shows your force and it's training. Like, well, you know, in Vietnam you operate with the Arvons, but we did it with the French, we did it with the Italians, the Greece. We went to Greece, we did there. We had, it was really an experience. I tell you, Fred, I actually really got to see a good part of the world when I went there them times.
Oh, it sounds like it, especially when you get over there in that part of the Mediterranean. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there and then met somebody on the Riviera, and I went to Sweden for 7 days, R&R while I was there.
Are we allowed to say that on camera?
Yeah, you said.
Okay. Okay. Just want to make sure.
But you met a lot of interesting people. Actually, when we went to the French Riviera, you hear about that, the Cannes Nice Film Festival. We were there when it happened.
Oh.
And we had our LCU, we took it off the Rushmore, and there we got a tank sitting on it, and there's Tony Curtis's yacht.
Very good.
All them sitting there, and there we are sitting in there. It was very interesting.
That's great.
Very
So did you come back to the States each time? Is that the idea?
Yeah, we did. We come back to the States, and then I was there in the States for a while, and then I made another one with 2-6 med crews, and we went back to the same areas. And your rendezvous point was Rota, Spain. That's
Okay.
where the next cruise coming over, we met and do the change of command right there. It's really enjoyable. And one of the other main feats I had when I was in the United States Marine Corps was I met General Chesty Puller.
Wow.
He was the inspecting general. He was coming down to 2nd Marine Division to do the inspection.
Wow.
And that's an honor to meet
Oh,
that man.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I would have to agree with that. That's not a lot of folks get to do that either. And I know some folks wonder, what's so great about meeting somebody? Well, you know, what they've done and what they stand for, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So when you came back to the States, by now we're talking about at this point, you're talking up at what, 64, 65 now, somewhere
Yep.
along there?
I remained there a little bit, and then I went to Okinawa. I was sent to Okinawa.
Individually or with your unit?
No, I was by myself.
Oh,
I
you're
was
by
sent to-
yourself. Okay.
sent to Ok-
Still a tank
Yeah,
maintenance
I was
chief?
sent to a 3rd Tank Battalion, Camp Hanson in Okinawa.
Okay.
Well, I guess I was there about maybe 2 months before myself, Sergeant Ritchie, and Sergeant Smith were going back and forth to Vietnam because there was some tanks down there, but the war hadn't really, it was getting there like an advisory force. And we went down to check out things, and we went to Chulai, we went to Da Nang, we went up to Phu Bai and everything, and it was an experience. And then no sooner did we got on the plane back, we went back up to Okinawa. We went up. We had 3 days R&R. Look, we might as well say, Liberty.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we're loading up. The whole division's loading up. We're going back down where we had already been. And we went down, and they had Operation Starlight, and actually, a lot of people don't really realize it. To me, that's actually the main start of the war.
And when was that?
That was in August of '65.
Okay, August of '65.
There's the story of it right there. That's Alpha Company tanks right there on the front.
Okay, it's called the First Battle, Operation Starlight, and the Beginning of the Bloody Debt in Vietnam. And it's on paperback.
Mostly everybody they knew, they sent us these books, and then of that. And it started off in July. And
in Chulai.
And then, I don't know, where you was there when remember they call it Freedom Hill? Did you ever hear of Freedom Hill?
Oh, yes, I did, yeah.
Well, that wasn't Freedom Hill. That was Hill 327.
Oh, yeah.
From there they moved. The 3rd Marine Division was the first outfit to be moving north. And we went up to Da Nang. We had a few conflicts in Marble Mountain, and then we had a few at our own area. And Alpha Company tanks was, CP was at Hill 327, where we went through the town of Dogpatch. I had to pay for some fence and stuff because the road was wide enough for a tank.
I understand it. So this was Alpha Company you were with?
I was with Charlie Company, but Alpha Company was there. We went on further out.
Okay.
Charlie Company went on out, and H&S Company went on out. After you got on the other side of 327, you crossed the railroad tracks there, which is Highway 1. Then an Amtrak come and knocked the train off the track. So we stayed out on 47, and then we wound up on Hill 22. But we stayed at Hill 47 with H&S Company for a while. And we had a platoon of 5 flame tanks with us. You only had 5 flame tanks per tank battalion. And the Marine Corps was the only ones that had them. And we stayed out there. Between that there, we had a few firefights, and we got hit with mortars. And then a real good friend of mine, we went to boot camp together, but Kenny Devers. His bunker was right next to my tank. And a mortar hit his bunker. And he died later of his wounds from Vietnam. His name's on the wall. I went down for that welcome home. I don't know,
Well, we're going to pick up more on that in the next segment. I want to kind of explain something about, you're talking about Hill 47, Hill what have you. We're going to explain that here in a minute so that our viewers will understand it. So don't go anywhere, okay, Al? Stay here. This is Through a Veteran's Eye. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Jason Berman, the host of Antietam Cable Television's The Civil War in Washington County. You can catch our newest and final episode of the series, which is on right now, that takes us beyond the war years and into the present. We'll take a special look at the formation and history of Antietam National Battlefield and also talk about preservation efforts in the area. You can catch The Civil War in Washington County Mondays at 8 p.m. and Saturdays and Sundays at 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. only on Antietam Cable Television's Channel 30. We'll see you then.
For over 20 years, Antietam Cable Television Productions has been bringing you local programming. From coverage of the Alsatian Mummers Parade and high school sports to unique local programming like our Ghosts and Legends shows and the Civil War in Washington County. Now you can own them on DVD. Just visit AntietamCable.com and click the DVD store button at the top of the page. You'll find all your favorite local programming from Antietam Cable, and right now, for a limited time, get 25% off plus free shipping on everything in the store. Antietam Cable Productions, bringing quality local programming to your home.
Welcome back to Through a Veteran's Eye. I'm your host, Fred Schinber. We have Al Bragunier here this afternoon, and we're talking about his career in the Marine Corps, and we're in Vietnam right now. A little bit ago in a previous segment, you were talking about Hill 47, Hill 22. A lot of our viewers may not know what the numbers mean.
They were numbers that we had was given to us for the hills, the locations according to your topographical and everything,
Right.
The way they did it. And we had Marble Mountain. They went by Marble Mountain on that. I don't know why, but we had to cross the Da Nang River to go over there for the Marble Mountain. We had over there the trouble we had over there, but we did. I hit a mine with the tank. I was a tank commander and section leader, and we did hit a mine and blow the right side of it. And we were, after it was all said and done, we were hauled back to Hill 47, which was H&S Company CPC area. And they wanted to scrap the tank, but we wouldn't let them. We went to work as a crew, and we put it back together. And at that time, Wallace M. Green was the commandant of the Marine Corps. Him, Hugh O'Brien, Charleston Heston, and a few dignitaries from Washington come over. Well, as a little segment to that, it was like, say you want a new car. They had us up, and they had us all stand around the tank, and it was more or less like, Charlton Heston give us the keys, like, here's your new tank. But it was actually the tank that we
had rebuilt.
We rebuilt it from thing. There's
That's
a lot of
cool.
things they said, no, you can't do that. Well, we did it,
Yeah. Take pride in your work. That's good.
I mean, that's your home.
Yeah. Oh, it is, absolutely, on wheels. Well, sort of speak on wheels, but yeah.
And we racked up quite a few combat hours with that vehicle.
Well, you mentioned a minute ago about losing a friend due to incoming mortar rounds. You had been over, by the time this happened, how long had you been in country by that time?
I had been in country for 6 months.
6 months at that time. Okay.
And
then your first tour is what, 12 months? A tour for Marines is what, 12 months, 13 months?
it was 18 months,
How many?
actually, for us.
Oh.
Okinawa was considered 18-month tour duty.
Oh, so you were down there kind of like temporary duty or something? Is that?
We went down, when we went to Vietnam, that was the rest of my duty. Actually, myself and Sergeant Krajak. Here's one for you, Fred. Man was in the Army, Air Force, and the Navy, and he was in the Marine Corps. He talked me into re-enlistment. So him and I re-enlisted together there in '66, because that's when my time was about ready to be out for my first enlistment in the Marine Corps. Yeah. Him and I re-enlisted there together as buddies. And I'm going to tell you something about Sergeant Krajak. I can say he saved my life, because he was in Korea. And that night the mortars hit, I got hit in the shoulder once. He says, stay on the ground. Don't move an inch. He says, one thing you ever learn on a mortar attack, never move. Wherever you are, lay down. If you're close to the tank, crawl underneath of it. But he was a hell of a nice guy.
Yeah. Touches something right at the spot like that. That's so you were hit in the shoulder?
Yeah, by a piece of shrapnel. And it didn't really do much damage. I'm fortunate in a way.
Were you medevaced?
I was taken down to Da Nang, that's all.
To Da Nang,
I mean, and I stayed in country.
Yeah.
I mean, it was wrapped up, looked like a wounded dog running
like
around.
a mummy or something like that, yeah.
But it's
yeah.
I think it was a sense of pride.
Yeah. I agree. I can see that, absolutely. So then you went back to your unit after you
Went
got
straight back
released by
to-
the medical people?
Yep.
Back
Went
out to your
straight-
tank?
Went straight back to Charlie
Okay.
Company.
And then how much longer did you stay in Vietnam after that?
After Craig Jack and I re-enlisted, August is when I left to go to Syracuse, New York, as an inspector instructor for Marine Corps, which they had a tank battalion up there, reserve, 4th Tank Battalion, and officer selection board for, people coming into the service and stuff, But we had the duty of casualty calls and funerals up there.
Yeah.
That is, to
Not
me,
not a very pleasant assignment by any means.
that was one of the most heartbreaking
No,
deals I ever
absolutely.
had to
Yeah,
do.
wouldn't wish that on anybody. That's
I had one that I got that her son was seriously wounded, and where I had to go was I had to go north of Syracuse. And I went up and told her, and okay, we're fine and dandy. I drive all the way back down to Syracuse. Well, it's actually Mattydale, New York, is where the reserve by Hancock Airfield. Here's another telegram. I had to go back to the same house to let
Tell 'em that-
her know that her son had
Yeah.
passed away.
yeah.
That was the worst experience
Yeah, it's
I
got
ever
to be
had in my
tough.
life.
Yeah, I would think so. And so when you were doing this CACO, I guess they call them casualties.
Casualty calls.
Yeah, casualty calls, CACOs. Then you went back to Vietnam again after that?
I went back.
Okay. Voluntarily? I mean, was that?
Well, I went to maintenance chief school, got promoted and all that, and then I went back. I requested.
How long were you over there then?
I got when I went over, I come back in 1969 to Baltimore. Engineers Reserve Unit down at Perry Parkway in Baltimore. And I stayed there until, I think, January the 15th. I went back down to Camp Lejeune. And then there on March the 30th, I got out of the Marine Corps.
Okay.
But
You were coming back. I was in Vietnam when you were coming back. I went over there in 68, 69.
I mean, we was up Camlo Hill. We done rapid patrols. I was there at Dong Ha when they hit the ammo dump, and they took us up, and the new battleship New Jersey come over. That was a main experience. That really scared us because we did not see it until it was all over, said and done with. We thought that we would say, Charlie's got some big stuff. It really scared us because
absolutely.
it shook the ground.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. Well, this has all been very refreshing for me, Al. Couple of things. Thank you for your service. I know that you were 2 Purple Hearts. And
Got 1 Bronze Star.
okay, and that says a lot for Marine Corps, and certainly I appreciate and respect that very much. Any regrets? Would you do it again?
Damn sure would.
Absolutely.
I would stay longer, but
Yeah.
when my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, but I think they want mostly the Vietnam veteran out of the service.
Yeah.
So that was the impression I got when I went back down to Camp Lejeune.
Good Ben. Yeah.
But there was a couple officers down there that had nothing but national defense ribbons and.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's what spoiled me when I came back was these shake and bakes that thought they knew it all, and they were all these ribbons. But anyway, thank you very much, Al, for your service, and thank you for coming here today. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
This is Through a Veteran's Eye. I'm your host, Fred Schember. Thank you for watching.